Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again with your HCS Open Series 4K tournament, and man, has it not disappointed yet, and something telling me it's going to continue to get better and better. I'm Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. My large-headed gentleman right next to me is my man Tim, aka Active. Don't get close to the cameras, make it look bigger.
Wow, Tony.
We're supposed to get further back.
Tony, stop talking about the size of my head, okay? It's getting ridiculous. I miss the old Tony. Anyway, here we go. Game number one. Tony, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Like, this is a hot take, okay? But I think Native is gonna win this series.
Honestly, it's my birthday wish that Native will take this series. It's my birthday wish that this goes to a game number 5. We have Native White, McWin, Barcode, Gilkey, and Tapping Buns going up against Native Red, Talik, Soul Snipe, Druck, and Mandy. It wasn't too long ago where Native Red got top 3 over at Worlds, couldn't compete as their full 4 starting lineup going into Charlotte, but at that very tournament, Native White ended up with a 4th place finish despite coming right out of the open bracket. This is going to be a great matchup and maybe a great rivalry for years to come.
Honestly, yeah, I really like Native White. I think they've really improved. I know they had a really solid place against Charlotte, but I think they've really improved as a team. They've gotten that practice in. I know you had spoken to Barcode, and you know, lack of practice once again was the thing. And now we're starting to see a little bit more of a practice Native White, and McWin, he's got all the secrets in his pocket, right? The guy worked on the game for 3 years. He knows all the stuff, and he's not letting us in on those secrets, Tony. He's keeping them to himself.
And because he worked on the game, he actually had to sit out for an entire year. It was an entire year where McWin wanted to get back into that competitive play, get back into pro play, and build a top 4 roster. In fact, he guaranteed me when I interviewed him that he was going to build a top 4 roster, and that he did. As so far we see Native White with the early lead on this hill going toward the mid, but looks like it's about tied as far as progression goes. Druck able to take down Gilkey. That's going to be a big kill, but the rest of Native White push Druck back, but somehow Native Red still a few more seconds within that hill, but who's stealing the rockets? It's going to be Native Red once again as Native White end up going 3 down, and Manny has the ultimate equalizer in his hands.
Yeah, what a beautiful job by Talik right there on the bottom of C, making sure that he can anchor that tram side and put damage on the rocket players. Native White was ready for those rockets. They had the wall and everything, but Talik being on that bottom tram was able to put massive damage, and now Manny has the rockets in hand. He's going to use them to play some defense on this first hill.
Manny, the X Factor, gets himself the first kill on Tapping Buns, wants to continue that from there, goes right after McWin. Slides in, takes out his kneecap, and looks like Native Red are going to be able to secure themselves that first hill, and it looks like Native White punching and staying over toward the Charlie side of the map. That's exactly where hill is going to. It's 0-1 for Native White, and now they're losing numbers once again.
Yeah, great job by Native White, though, to get this tram side to make sure that they're set up for this very next hill. Unfortunately, they are going down pretty quick, but their defense is starting to pay off here. The single kill comes out, but Manny with a clutch kill on the player left from Native White inside a tram. Because of that, the time won't be added to the board just yet. But they've recovered here. Gilkey's going to get a kill of his own. 2 down for Native Red.
Gilkey holding on to the top C control. Looks like, where's that stalker rifle like stuck in between? The stalker rifle in a very weird position there. It's like not on top of the platform and not on the bottom. It's hanging in the air right now. But Gilkey don't need himself a stalker rifle. Instead, he has himself a bulldog, puts it to work immediately, and it looks like the rest of Native White are tapping in as Tapping Buns gets himself a double kill. Native Red ends up 4 down. Native White already pushed up to apply pressure here. Bandit rifle out for McWin, ends up getting the assist onto 1. Now challenging Druck and gonna win that 1v1 gunfight. McWin ends up going down here, but the rest of Native White are still applying. What we talked about? That pressure. Native Red go 4 down once again. Native White get away with the rockets, and it looks like they're gonna take away hill number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we're tied up at 1 apiece.
Great job by Native White to tie right there, and is off the back of McWin using that beautiful bandit rifle, isolating the players, getting some massive kills. And honestly, Native White has had full control of these power weapons. Power weapons, the name of the game on streets, and they're truly taking advantage of them.
Tapping Buns has a very important role here. He has to make sure that nobody pushes up on this purple side, and once those callouts come in that nobody's pushing this side, he's gonna have to pivot over towards mid and help on the B side of the map. So far, Tapping Buns still watching purple. Gilkey on the other side gets himself a kill, and tapping button snaps onto that target, making sure he does as much damage as possible. One more player from Native Red is pushed up. The spawners are coming in though. Rocket comes out, able to take down one, chasing down Soul Snipe out of the PD. The finish comes in, well played by tapping buttons. It could have been easy for him to just sit there on the purple side, but he was listening to his teammates. He's making sure he gets as much damage as possible.
Not only that, not only does he get as much damage as possible, but he blocks the spawns from happening on PD. He pushes aggressively, isolates those two players, gets both kills. Because of that, Native Red spawn out, and that means Native White are able to get much more time here on the back end.
2 down for Native White. Native Red moving in position here for the setup. We have Barcode and McWin over toward the purple side. That's going to overwhelm Soul Snipe and force him to back down, but the rest of Native Red are getting angles onto this purple side, even going as far as to hop out of the hill to make sure they secure their kills. Taulik ends up taking down Gilkey. McWin takes down one before going down himself. Tapping button tries to clean up the pieces, but he's going to go down. McWin forced to back down, and Native Red once again in that hill, and now once again coming off a spawn to move into their setup quickly.
Great job by McWin, though, to get that trade and stay alive. He gets the spawn from his teammate Gilkey. He's going to be there on that cafe, and that sets Native White up to get these power weapons once again. They're in a perfect spot to be able to secure this third hill, I'm sorry.
2-1 lead for Native White. And if I'm Native White, you know, oftentimes you win this next hill and you're up 3-1 going into that mid hill, and you end up winning the game just by simply playing time. There's 2 minutes and 22 seconds. If Native White win this, Native Red are going to really be on their back foot. Native White are going to play the shot clock. Native Red are going to have to be the aggressor. They have to be the one setting the pace. They have to push Native White out, and that's exactly what they do. Back-to-back 3 downs for Native White as the spawners now push all the way back toward the subway in the red side. Native Red fully locked in, and they even have themselves a Stalker Rifle enhanced. How will Native White break?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough with his Stalker Rifle in the hands of Soul Snipe. He's going to put some massive damage in, but 2 go down for Native Red. So this is the opportunity for Native White to push in, and they're going to use that opportunity to be aggressive here. That Shroud Screen going to throw off tapping button. He takes 2 shots because of it. He ends up staying alive, and Soul Snipe's not able to get back into the play here. Because of that, he's going to be down to no shields and doesn't have any opportunity to push in.
2-1 lead still in favor of Native White, but the numbers are not with them. Barcode and tapping buttons both on the black screen. Looks like McWin is going to join them as well. Gilkey, the final player, trying to absorb as much hill time as possible. Native Red finally able to get him out, but it took them way too long to do so. Barcode now just going to fill in the pieces. The rest of Native White right off his spawn, now pushing right over toward the purple side before Native Red are able to react. Native White up 3-1, 1 hill away, or in this case, 2 minutes and 16 seconds away from coming out with game number 1.
I love this stat line by Barcode here. If you look at the top left of your screen, 12, 13 assists, and only 9 deaths. This is beautiful. He's putting in some massive damage, putting in massive work, but also playing his life as well. Barcode on a tear right now, but oh my word, I jinxed him, Tony. He just fell on a nade and exploded.
Soul Snipe hits the 5-star frog splash off the top rope to take down McWin, then drops that sticky grenade in the exact place where Barcode is going to end up being. And it's funny, Soul Snipe calls Manny the X Factor, but really it seems like it's Soul Snipe, man. He makes those plays, those game-changing ones. 17 kills for him, 11 assists here as Native Red trying to take the hardest hill to take here in Halo Infinite.
Yeah, the very important part is to get bottom C here. If either team can get bottom C, it'll be much easier to secure this last hill. And like you said, Tony, Native White, they're just playing time. They're up by 2 caps. It's 1 minute and 37 seconds where they can just slay out and keep Native Red out of this bottom center hill.
1 minute 35 seconds on the clock, so almost about a minute so far being drained here for Native White. But Native Red halfway through taking this hill, which they still have to work on yet another one right afterwards. Taulik thought he was in a 1v1, end up in a 1v2. Druk tries to provide the cover fire overfill to the spike side, but just a second too late. So both Druk and Taulik end up going down, and McWin and Native White clear out the subway. Looks like there's one more player left. Soul Snipe gets himself the trade, but Native White successfully clear the subway side of the map. And he just said how important it is. Taulik defending it for dear life.
Yeah, he's the last player 11. I love how he played his life right there. He was able to continue to stay alive, and now on the opposite end of Barcode, he's got control of that C side, and guess what? Because of that, Native Red just punched in their second hill, and they're looking to get control of this B street to punch in another.
Imagine challenging an Australian to a fist fight on the streets, bro. Like, you're absolutely out of mind. Barcode's been fighting kangaroos his whole life, bro.
Scary.
Boxing gloves and everything, just sparring out 5 minutes at a time, surviving. You think you're gonna go toe-to-toe with Barcode, bulldog out. Soul Snipe ends up getting the shotty to the body right there. Gilkey over toward the A side, Druck bust right through the front door, able to take down Barcode, has a couple of shrouds to work with as Native Red 56 seconds away to tie up this game. Can they do it?
Yeah, we see a contrast to the first couple of hills here for Native Red. They've now got control of these power weapons in the sandbox, and because of that, they're taking control of this sixth hill, I'm sorry. And it's all due to the power weapon control. Again, it's so very vital, but here comes the push by Native White. Once again, that rocket being utilized for defense not being wasted. It gets the first kill, and we got a 2v2 situation right now.
And it looks like it's Native White that they're getting that third kill that you were looking for, but look how fast Native Red get themselves back into the action. Manny does a decent amount of damage before McWin takes him out. Druck now doing everything he can to stay alive, and then the stray nade out of nowhere from Talon is going to clean up McWin. Gilkey tries to fly in and go at Druck. Druck slides right under him. His teammates got each other's back, and just like that, Native White end up going 3 down. The rest of Native Red get right back into that hill. 24 seconds left to tie things up and send us over toward that subway side, and Native White will not go down easily.
Yeah, it's a great call, Tony. With 20 seconds left, Native Red cannot afford to get out of this hill whatsoever. So any pressure coming out from Native White, I'm
like
probably
that?
getting confused on the name. Yeah, pressure like that is going to continue to bring this clock down. 10 seconds remaining.
Barcode puts his body in between Talik and that hill. Talik forced to stay over toward the red room to play his life. That allows Native White to slip right in and clear out the hill. Just like that, 5 seconds left. All of Native Red forced to push in into 2v1 as McWin coming off the spawn. Native Red so close to taking it, and it looks like McWin staying over toward the seaside. Barcode tries to make a last-minute desperation push, but ends up going down. The Stalker rifle comes in, but it's just a second too late. Native Red have tied things up, and we're going to see a sudden death. Maybe in overtime here. Rockets in the hands of McWin. Native Red 3 down, make it 4 down. That's an overkill out of McWin. Making a kill tag right there as McWin going absolutely off here for Native White. My gosh, they needed him to clear out that subway side. They're able to do it. Native White fully set up.
What an incredible play by McWin there. And I was going to talk about the fact that he's got so much confidence, but so much power to utilize to get this hill, to get this very next hill, the tying hill right here. But unfortunately, Native White not able to get a lot of time. They've only got about 15% of this hill here on bottom tram, and I would assume with 5 kills coming out of McWin alone, they would have wanted more, and now Native Red gonna take advantage and get control.
They were able to put Native White 3 down, starting off by securing those kills, and now watching every angle on the map. It looks like a double, if not a triple push by Native White over toward the arcade side. Barcode and Gilkey now tapping buns, joining the McWin, wants to put pressure over towards the mid, but McWin gets overwhelmed. Soul Snipe finds himself yet another kill here. While all this happens, Native Red still within the zone. Tapping buns wins a pivotal gunfight against Talik right now. Druck comes in for the cleanup, and Gilkey can't find the clamber button to get over towards Commando. By the time he's up there, Soul Snipe gets the easy kill, and now we're talking about just a millisecond left of time. Look at how small that sliver is for Native Red to steal away this game.
Yeah, 2 or 3 more ticks and Native Red will steal it away there, and it was honestly the isolation out of Native Red onto Native White. When they had the information of where Native White was, they were able to capitalize on the isolated players away from B Street, and they get those 2 kills. But Native White now in the driver's seat. They have a chance to bring this back. These rockets on the bottom center of the map are going to be a pivotal factor here. But wait a minute, Druck makes it through. He sneaks on by, and the shroud screen going to prevent any damage from getting him, but they take him out at the very last second. That rocket will be wasted. Both rockets will be wasted, and that will be big for Native White.
Both rockets are wasted, but Soul Snipe gets himself a double kill, and that's enough for Soul Snipe to get right back in the hill and steal that final split second they were looking for. Manny with the rockets in hands. really was just a distraction there as both of those rockets pulled the attention over towards Manny and away from the flanking Soul Snipe for that double kill. A 4-3 win out of Native Red.
And we talked about and joked about the fact that Native is going to win this series. But to be honest with you, Tony, Native does win this series. They've got two incredible rosters on their hands that are so talented that are going to make marks in this HCS Season 2. And it's players like Mikwin. What an incredible kill tech, utilizing those power weapons to their full potential.
Game number 1. That was not disappointing whatsoever. Native Red having to go deep within their bag in order to come out with the win on Native White. But can they do it 2 times? Can they do it 3 times? Can Native Red take down Native White, or will Native White quickly respond here on Aquarius Slayer?
Yeah, it was just a couple decisions there that, you know, really just kind of tossed the game. And like I said before, the power up and control out of Native Red towards that second half was really a big factor there. Gonna look for Native White to make sure that they control all camos on this Aquarius Slayer game type map combination. Of course, very important to also control those thrusters as they essentially give you an automatic win in a 1v1. Here we go. Game number 2. Native Red up by 1. Who will close this out?
I bet you somewhere out there, Deranged Native, the owner of Native Gaming, like had his Native Red jersey on for game number 1. The moment Native Red wins, he like switches over to like the white jersey. If anyone, he's gonna keep switching game after game. He doesn't know who to root for right now. As Tapping Buns was able to get away with that active camouflage, but down to 1 shot has Barcode as reinforcements. Whenever you're trying to stay alive, it's always kind of a safe bet to push over towards your spawning players.
Tap big buttons. Got some big damage there. A little bit overextended though, kind of alone. Barco was there to kind of get that assist. He does clean up the kill, so that's going to be huge. He's able to get control of that utility there and back both players from Native Red up. He pushes in aggressively once again. Gilk is there to help him out, but this heat wave is one of the things I was talking about, controlling this utility. The heat wave doing some massive damage and continues to do so. It's Talik with a killing spree to start this game.
Ooh, Talik bringing the heat wave into that gunfight, gets himself the kill onto the first, even it gets the assist onto the second one, but the rest of Native White able to clear him out. Barcode, Dynamo Grenades in, gonna chuck a couple of those, warning and information. Soul Snipe off the screen, gets himself a kill. That's a big one for Native Red. Not only does it give them the lead, but also gives them an opportunity to push up for that map control. Active camouflage coming up in just 26 seconds. Tapping Buns needed to answer back, and of course he gets a double kill.
Good job by him to stay alive there. The pressure comes in. It's going to be Mikwin on the yellow utility side. That camo is coming up, so you're going to see the fight for top center control. It's up to Soul Snipe to make sure to defend this side of the map. And it's Mikwin with the weapon in hand, to the sword to pierce the armor. Make sure to get that camo, because that's going to be a big swing in this game.
Soul Snipe controlling the P side, but forced to trade out his life for that double kill. Talik still manning the car side by himself at the moment. There are 2 members of Native White that should be able to push him out. And here come the spawning players for Native Red. We're slowly starting to get in position. Druck the first one in and the first one to go down. Manny still being sneaky, looking for the entrance. Barker goes down, taking minimal damage here. Does Manny off the screen? Looks like Native Red finding even more kills. Tapping Buns, putting that thrust to work, but Native Red overwhelming them with numbers, sending body after body over Native White. 1 kill lead, make it 2.
Yeah, we've got a neck and neck game here, and it makes sense. Native White is 9-10 in Slayer, and Native Red is 10-10 in Slayer. A very evenly matched game here for these 2 teams, but something really interesting. The last 2 times that these players played, Native Red won their Slayer. So Native Red, a little bit of a little bit of an edge there on paper. We'll see if that translates to game. We
kill game here so far as the fridge side is going to be cleared out. Tapping Buns awarded the kill onto that one. Brings out the heat wave immediately, but Druck having the health advantage, able to take him down, and so do 3 members of Native White who fall from here. Manny coming in to clean up those weak players, and just a 4-kill game. Like you said, neck and neck. It's going to be like this all game long, but you know the old saying, Slayers don't really start until you hit that 30-kill mark. Native Red 1 kill away from doing just that.
Shout out to one of the greatest casters to do it, Puckett. We miss you, brother. But here we go, 29-24 Talik. in the driver's seat with a heat wave once again. Native Red controlling the camo, the heat wave, the items that matter on this map. There's not a lot to work with. It's a lot of individual skill, but it's when you get these little advantages and make them count that really sends you through this game. That camo coming up here, no one top center to contest for this. You're seeing Druck pushing for that advantage right now.
But as Druck wants to make his way over towards it, the rest of Native White are able to move in position here. McWin gets the cross-map nade. Talik is able to take down McWin, so numbers advantage once again going in favor of Native Red. And now the question becomes, were they just using that camouflage as bait? Tapping Bud steals it away. Eventually, Native White go 2 down in order to grab it, and somehow Native Red's lead, which started off as 2 or 3, has grown to 8 kills as we move into the 4th quarter, make it 9, as they're now 10 kills away from taking game number 2 and being up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, I mean, the big factor here is Native White just got their first resource, their first impactful resource in the camo on tapping buttons, but he just lost it right away, and it wasn't able to bring any value to this Native White roster. Because of that, Native Red is starting to come away with this one, 42-34, like you mentioned. They've got to start to win their individual fights. They've got to make sure to utilize that chemistry and teamwork, but unfortunately, holes in the armor have been seen. Soul Snipe is the first one to strike. And here comes the rest of Native Red. The trades are coming out. Native Red are going to be on top of all those trades, Tony, because they only need 5 more kills.
Druck was flying right in and going after Barco. Barco able to rip a double kill seemingly out of nowhere to try to claw their way back into it, but it's quite a mountain to climb. Tapping Buns awarded the kill for yet another one, but eventually extends a bit too forward, ends up going down himself. Native Red 1 squad wipe away from taking down White here on Aquarius. The game slowing down just a little bit. Native White understanding that every single death can cost them at this point, so they're doing everything they can to stay alive. Gilkey able to take down Soul Snipe, giving them that momentary numbers advantage. Druck flying it over towards the car side. I'm not sure if Druck was it. There we go. Druck not able to get that kill. McWin slides right in, and now Native Red simply needing one more and almost there.
Yeah, the one more is on card 2, and there it is. Tog's gonna clean that one up. Native White, unfortunately, are gonna go down 2-0 in the series. Native Red looking very, very solid, especially with the discipline to control those power weapons in both the second half of the very first game and the entirety of game number 2. Just incredible job by them. Their aggression, you know, I've talked about this before. I thought Native Red, and we've talked about this, Tony, I thought Native Red hit their ceiling, you know, many tournaments ago. At Worlds, they completely proved me wrong, and it's really good to see them continue to contest these top teams and not fall over, correcting mistakes, also taking control of the pace of the game. It's a scary thing to be against a team that can go as fast as Native Red can, but also the fact that they've now added to their arsenal, the fact that they can control the pace of the game and slow it down at a moment's notice is really scary if you're going against this squad.
And if I'm Native Red, I feel like, I talked about this time and time again before, like I feel like because you weren't able to go in with your full starting roster into Charlotte, and you know, you ultimately didn't make it out of open bracket, and you see like, you know, your sister team or your brother team, if you will, make it out of open and get 4th place as Native White. I feel like Native Red needs to go into every tournament, no matter how big, how small, with that chip on their shoulder saying that we are still here. We are still contenders for that top 4 spot. Don't forget about us, because I promise you, once you do, that's when Native Red would strike and upset you every single time. It's a 2-0 series lead for Native Red so far against their brother teams, if you will, with Native White. 1 game away from pulling off the sweep. Can Native Red do it right here, right now?
We're gonna find out game number 3. It's gonna be live fire oddball on board with Barcode, gets the first initial kill. Second one will be cleaned up, and now the setup for Overshield is coming in 10 seconds, but I love that early rotation towards A, but Manny's gonna stop it instantly, and the trade comes out. 3 dead for Native Red, make that 2. Native White playing a little bit scrappy here, but this is what I wanted to see. They get that first initial OS. He pops it a little bit late, and now the push comes in. Beautiful job. He gets an assist. Some great teamwork here. This should be a wipe and some ball time, but some massive damage has been done to Tapping Buns. His OS is gone.
Was it a late OS pop, or was it right on time like a Rolex? This Tapping Buns comes in right there. An absolutely clear house here on Native Red. Barcode now following through with this sniper rifle can make some impactful plays. Body shots onto Manny as he's backing down. Shooting a random one into the void, into the shroud right there. Would have loved to get the headshot, but he finds one. As long as he can see them, he can pop their head off. Can Barcode 3 down go native red. Barcode strong siding his way into staying alive with this ball, and that's valuable time being added on the board for native white.
Yeah, that's something I'm seeing out of native white in this game, in the first round at least. They're starting to play their life really well. You see 2 players, 1 shot there, utilizing the cover. Beautiful shots out of tapping buttons. But that's going to be a play ball. Druck makes it through the back line, gets the play ball, and now once again, native white have to fight for that ball, bottom center.
Ball being grabbed by Barcode. McWin doing a great job of manning the tower side with the sniper rifle, but the P is staying alive. Body shot into the BR. Won't finish off Manny. There's another player that's going to replace him over toward the tower. Can he sniff them out? Kilky taking down Soul Snipe. Druck looks like he's aware of McWin over toward the top tower side, but there's not much that he can do about it because Tapping Buns knew his location as well. The rest of native red now starting to get into the play after spawning out over toward that B and A side of the map. McWin then comes right back in, challenging Manny. Beautifully played by McWin, and look at the scoreboard. It's not looking pretty for native red.
Yeah, that was just beautifully played by native white. That entire sequence was just gorgeous, right? They force the spawns onto B, which means they get the OS for free. McWin has top tower control the entire time, and they're able to utilize that to now have a 52-4 lead. And look at these beautiful rotations, rotating back to A towards the spawns. And it's Gilkey who's preventing on the defense here.
Gilkey with the newest weapon to the sandbox, the bandit rifle in hands, has the Windows side right over Manny, and once Manny goes down to 1 shot, gonna chase him down, get that kill, but the rest of native red move right into position, go right back at Gilkey. Native red momentarily getting the numbers that should convert to some ball time until McWin and native white once again throwing them off balance.
Off balance is exactly where they want them. 2 dead for native red. Manny's in an isolated situation, but he wins a very important fight in the 1v1. It's going to be a big kill as they get another one onto McWin. That's 2 dead for native white. Now they can collapse here and get more isolated players caught out on the outside of Overshield. Tapping Buttons, the last player alive momentarily, and he's going to get the kill. That's a great trade by Tapping Buttons. Evens up and staggers that spawn onto Talik a little bit.
McWin being stuck over toward the pillar side, but look at how the rest of native white, once they get that call out, they come in. The reinforcements aren't here. Soul Snipe making a high IQ play to rotate that ball away from the pushing native white. Native white send numbers over toward the B street, and also the rotation coming in quick, so being able to adapt to that situation. But Soul Snipe eventually plays ball, but eventually goes down with the ship. Native white should be able to grab Overshield and ball from this sniper rifle in the hands of Barcode. Yo,
Druck just got a beautiful double right there. I believe that did stop the Overshield, but Barcode's gonna get it anyway. He tried to make a massive play, and I mean, he did do just that, but Barcode was there, ready for it. But now he's gonna take out Manny, who's gonna be a nuisance on this side of the map. They take him out, and now they have to worry about another 3-man push from native red.
Druck absolutely making plays there, delaying that Overshield and ultimately delaying native white from getting any ball time when they already have the lead. So Druck and native red playing that really well, but eventually native white end up weathering the storm. Eventually they find the kill that they're looking for. They're able to rotate that ball over toward the A side, which is exactly where they wanted here. So native white eventually get what they're looking for, and that's a setup. Native red once again having to break. McWin with that heat wave, putting 1 shot into everybody on the map, but somehow it's Druck the one who comes in with the cleanup. Double kill for Druck. Ball time in hands. Can native red tie things up here?
Native red have just done a little bit of a better job on their aggression to make sure that they're in sight lines of each other and they're able to clean up the kills. But it's Barcode that opens up the entire map right there, gets the 2 kills necessary. All 4 dead for native red. Native white looking for a setup.
70 points and counting here for native white. McWin on screen denying access for native red over toward the Overshield side, then quickly backing up because he knows that native red are gaining space. Long range shots onto Druck. Manny off a screen, able to take down tapping buttons. Another 1v1 gunfight gonna end in a trade. So a 2v2, Soul Snipe slides right into Gilkey and eventually gets knocked off the map because of the repulse. Mind the gap, watch your step. Native White once again with the setup, and it might be the final one here for round number 1 because I don't see any members of Red in position.
Yeah, Red is trying to push for this OS, so White's got to make sure that they defend from the top center of the map on sandbags. They do just that, get the 2 kills, another overshield in the hands of Native White. 9 seconds is all that remain in this round number 1. And you're going to see Native Red milking as much time as they can, getting ready to play this ball, and it's going to be resources sent to this side to make sure that play ball happens. But look what happens to Mikwin. They send the resource of the overshield over to get the play ball, but all of the OS is gone, and now they don't have to worry about it.
Native White not taking any chances whatsoever, even going with that early play ball, despite being 9 seconds away from coming out with the win. So Native White once again have to find those slays, and once again they put Native Red 3 down, snatch up that ball with the quickness, and Native Red on black screen. This time it's gonna be it. Round 1 for Native White. They're on the board.
Yeah, they started to really pick it up towards the end of that one, Tony. I was a little bit worried about this play right here, right? Look at all the damage he takes. No more OS for Mikwin. They get the play ball off, and that's essentially all they needed. They clean it up real quick. This opening strat is going to be very important. These deaths on the side of Native Red. It looks like Druck does go down early, but they get the trade on to Gilkey. OS coming up in 13 seconds.
And I can imagine Native White, you know, to come into this game, you know, down 0-2, you know, mentally you must be spent. You left it all on the line in game 1 and game number 2, and Native Red were able to come out on top. But, you know, a wise man once said, don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. So as of right now, Native White, they have a goal to hit. They need to be able to come back, maybe send us into that game number 5 for the reverse sweep. But as we start to figure things out, why don't we take a look at OpTic Gaming going up against Proton, because a very important King of the Hill is on the way right now. I believe this is game 1.
Yeah, just so you guys know, this is winners bracket round number 1. Obviously, we did have a little bit of a lag out there for the observers, so we'll get that information to you as fast as possible. But again, you got to look at the positive side of things, okay? Now we get to watch OpTic Gaming versus Proton Gaming. Proton, a team that has really impressed me throughout this whole tournament. As I say that, they go 4 down. But the fact that they're here against OpTic is, you know, a gift and a curse in and of itself. A very difficult opponent, but, you know, might be around that they could make an upset happen.
They did go 4 down, but they did so impressively is what happened there with Proton Gaming finding half the kills onto OpTic, taking both Lucid and Formal out of the picture. It looks like Trippy trying to make a play towards the Rockets. He ends up going down as well, and somehow APG, the final player live from OpTic Gaming, makes a play towards the Rockets, snatches it up, gets a double kill right after that. Proton Gaming, who had all the advantage in the world, I don't know what just happened. APG just made a play.
Yeah, I mean, APG is making massive plays right there. I love the target switch right there to get that beat down, but then immediately start pre-firing the guys on top C. He gets the damage necessary. OpTic Gaming get their very first hill, and Proton now looking to fight for this seaside control, but they've got to do so as a squad. OpTic Gaming has become so disciplined. I think since Orlando, their discipline has just gotten better and better as time has gone on. They just seem unstoppable as a team right now. The 3-peat world champions. Absolutely incredible.
One thing I've always been impressed by when it comes to OpTic Gaming is their ability to use teamwork, but also to like multitask. They're so good at like gaining objective time at the same time as addressing power weapons, at the same time of getting map control, getting the kills. Like they're never doing like one thing at a time. It seems like they're always doing multiple things at the same time, and you almost can't keep up with them. It almost feels like they're playing a whole nother game, at least at a whole nother level of speed with the way they play, with the way they go about things.
Yeah, and I like, it's things like that, right? APG stays alive that long. He gets the spawns onto the purple side, the closest spawn that was uncontested for OpTic Gaming. And because he stays alive that long, OpTic Gaming once again have control of Tram and are continuing to put points on the board. It's plays like that that make this team so unstoppable.
Formal's been able to rotate this bandit rifle all the way toward the B side, puts it to work. That's gonna be a perfect kill, Formal. He didn't play much of Halo 5, but killing with the single shot weapons, he knows what he's doing. Goes right back to the bandit rifle. The BR to finish. Posey right there. Monster already on the black screen. Damage onto multiple different players. Almost takes down Common, but OpTic Gaming are able to steal away 2 hills in a row, and APG steals away those rockets.
Yeah, that's 2 rockets in a row as well for OpTic Gaming and APG. Utilizing them perfectly to get those 2 kills. Comet does a really good job of staying alive, but he does expose himself on the outside. He gets the kill there, but that's 3 down for Proton. And Lucid has the intelligence to block that purple side spawn, that cafe spawn, and potentially get this kill. But Comet gets that one as well. It's not going to be enough, though, because Proton Gaming going to spawn across the map.
Yeah, OpTic seemed like they had the right idea to isolate Common over toward the A side. Common just makes a play to take down one on his way of going down. So, hey, turning a bad situation into a good one, no, I'm not mad at that whatsoever out of Chris Common. I am mad that APG's playing hide and seek right now at a professional level. Man, Posey and Proton had no idea that APG was in the PD side. Ends up getting a kill onto one, damage onto the second one. So the plays that Proton Gaming were making to gain control, to gain a bit of momentum, ends up going down the drain there thanks to that individual play by APG once again. Wow.
Some crazy plays being made by all of OpTic Gaming. You see Lucid, look at him on this tram side, just putting pressure on the players that are pushing through. Unfortunately, Trippy does go down. So Lucid, if one more player goes down from his squad, he's going to have to push up and assist here. APG is the last player on this side. Lucid's going to try and rotate over there, but APG playing his life so incredibly well. You see, like I said, Lucid pushing up. Unfortunately, he's going to be a little too late, and now a little bit of a staggered spawn for OpTic Gaming.
Gotta love the response to the recovery out of Proton Gaming right there, and now Trippy dropping the drop wall, doing everything he can to get creative to stay alive while the rest of his team move into position and create space. Breaking shot flies right past Trippy. Trippy is insulted right now. That breaking shot is playing ring around the rosy, but if APG can play hide and seek, he can play ring around the rosy. Anything goes here in Halo Infinite. Monster steals rockets. OpTic Gaming spawning over towards Subway. Proton setup locked in.
Yeah, that was huge by breaking shot. The fact that he stayed alive, they got all 4 dead with assistance right there. They got rockets as well. That is Proton Gaming. Are they able to utilize these is the question. Not able to get too much hill time. And OpTic trying to break this setup, but 2 go down early. It's a 2v2 situation.
Formal taking height with that bandit rifle once again. Posey was able to clear APG out of the PD side this time, but Formal follows right up. And now that PD side control in favor of OpTic, and it's so important, provides so much cover, gets you that perimeter control that you were looking for. I feel like no matter whether you're breaking a setup or holding a setup, you need somebody addressing PD, and Formal's doing just that.
He's doing that with the bandit as well. He's used the bandit pretty much the entire game. I think definitely a little bit of a love story between those two. He's definitely really good with it as well. I'd say one of the best left stick aimers in the game. You want to learn how to left stick aim, you got to watch a lot of Formal. There he is on your screen here, taking control of this tram side. And this is kind of some great play out of him, right, Tony? He slow plays, waits for an opportunity. Now, one of his teammates is down, so this is a very important kill for him. He knows that, but great job by Posey to utilize that shotgun, the power weapons in the hand of Proton Gaming. And they're utilizing it to get that first cap on the board for their score, 2-1 now. Proton looking to come back.
Proton Gaming putting on their first hill on the board. Meanwhile, Native White in that game able to put their first win on the series board. They were down 0-2 before going into that oddball. They answer right back. So big for Native White. Now we're gonna see if Proton Gaming can follow it up, because you're still down by 1. There's only 43 seconds on the clock, so OpTic still have quite the advantage on you. You need rockets. You need to get your butts in the hill. Proton Gaming need a lot right now.
Yeah, and it's players like Formal kind of playing that back sneaky angle, just making sure to be difficult kill. They're gonna make that difficult, but here comes the push by Trippy. They get the kill without dying. I mean, that's huge, right? They both end up kind of, squabbling to get that kill, but none of them die. But here comes the advantage push. That's 3 down for Proton. The last player is Common. APG gonna clean that one up nice and good. And all 4 down for Proton Gaming. But you see right there, 20 seconds remaining. OpTic will not get in the hill. They're just gonna slay out the rest of this time.
Look, Proton Gamer doing like a melee's only challenge right there, just beating up that player for flying in. But like you said, OpTic Gamer let them to play the shot clock. all of Proton Gaming forced to like desperate and straight line over toward the hill, but that's exactly what OpTic want. So they just rain down grenades as they try to desperate in, and with that, all of the damage being done to Proton and none being received by OpTic Gaming. So eventually Proton go 3 down, they run out of numbers, and that's OpTic Gaming taking it 1-0 in the series, and only 3 hills captured here on the streets.
Yeah, we don't generally see that. They're a very slow game out of both squads, but just a lot of control is what we saw out of OpTic. And it, of course, the name of the game on streets, you got to control that sandbox, and they did that incredibly well. They've done that really well since the very start of Halo Infinite, I think, and I think that's what's really garnered them their success, along with many other things. Game 2 is going to be Slayer Aquarius. Of course, this is winners bracket round number 1. We are done with the pool play, I believe, for now. I think there's still some pool play matches going on, but of course, we are starting that winners bracket, and looks like we'll keep you guys updated on that one. We're going to go back over to Native Red versus Native White, and you see Native White 2-0, Tony, in that oddball game, looking to potentially tie this up in this game number 4.
I find it so interesting that OpTic Gaming win that in only 3 hills. Like we've seen Streets oddball, Streets King of the Hill end in time multiple times before, but never really in 3. I feel like it almost reminds me back in season 1. A team that used to do that a lot was Ryan Noob on EU United. I remember they actually won like Live Fire King of the Hill 1-0, which was like crazy. But I feel like they've done that. Was a more extreme version of it. But they've done that time and time again. They've won 2-0. They've won 3-1 multiple times when it comes to King of the Hill, and really just draining that shot clock as much as possible. You know, at the end of the day, in King of the Hill, it's not about who gets to 4 wins first. It's about who has the most wins by the time the game is, or the most hills by the time the game is over. So I wonder if we're going to see a meta shift in that direction, where we see a lot more time being drained as opposed to just sitting in the hill when you have those advantages.
That's a good call. We always love to see the meta shifts as the season goes on. That's what makes every HCS season so very interesting. Like I said, we're in game number 4 here. Native Red versus Native White. Native White won the last game. They've got the momentum swing in their favor. But Native Red have the answer in the hands of Manny with that camo. Gilkey's got to be careful here. The flank is coming through. Look at this. The trigger discipline. Mickwin's got the eyes, though. He ate his carrots as a kid, Tony. Carrots are so disgusting, but it's paying off for him. They get the 2 initial kills. Native Red 2 down.
You have the taste buds of a child, I swear. Carrots are not disgusting. You're ill. Shock rifle in the hands of Gilkey right now. Double cap for Native Red, but it looks like it's Native White that are quickly pushing over toward the A side. McWin doing everything possible to stay alive and deny access from Native Red, and it looks like it's gonna work. Native Red go 3 down, and with that, Native White are now able to steal away Alpha. Looks like one player being a little daring, sneaking right over towards B. Gilkey takes it personal, goes right at him, but what thought was a 1v1 ended up being a 1v2. Luckily, Native White, they have backup as well.
Yeah, and I think that's why he chowed that. I think he did think that was a 1v1. It would have been a pivotal kill for him, but Mickwin does pick up the shock rifle anyway, so still in the hands of Native White. They're going to be able to utilize this on that defensive side. And Druck in a very important spot right there. Look at the pinch. That was beautiful. The cross shot comes from Soul Snipe, I believe it was. But they're able to take out that player on top glass, which is going to be so vital in order to get this B hill. And they do just that. CMB now in control of Native Red. Native White on their back foot.
I feel like neither one of these teams really wanted to see Strongholds on recharge. Snow Stats letting us know that, you know, Native Red only having a 50% win rate on this map and game type, and even Native White, you know, a little bit better at 67%, but still not their bread and butter. You're going to give Native White the advantage on here, but anything can happen, especially on Strongholds. It's a 64-23 lead in favor of Native Red as they're moving in for another trip cap over toward the Alpha side. Manny staying alive with his camouflage. Gilkey spotted him. He sniffed him out but couldn't find exactly where he's at, so Manny gets a couple cheap shots on him. Ducks right back out. Now comes right back in for the pressure, but a sneak kick out of Barcode.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that was beautiful right there. I was going to say Native Red really doing a great job of controlling these camos. That's 2 camos in a row for them, but both of them have been just completely squashed by this native white roster. And that's really solid because it's going to allow them to still try and mount this comeback. With those camos being in hand, it would have been really difficult. So now 2 caps on the board. They're starting to continue to pile this time, going for a triple cap actually.
Trim cap for native white, native red. Gonna slide over toward the Charlie side. They are receiving pressure from native white, but they're able to weather that really quick barcode, following it up with that disruptor, trying to do as much damage as possible. And all this native red being trapped over toward the C side. Even if the kills aren't coming in, look at how much time is being wasted. That's just time coming in for native white. Eventually the kills start to flow in. Native red have to break out as quickly as possible. Native white are quickly coming right back on the map.
Yeah, see, that's how I like the disruptor to be used. You saw Barcode using that. He was initially going to use it to shoot the hill platform in order to get anybody on the hill to go down, but instead he shot 1 player and it spread to like 2 or 3 players. That's 2 or 3 players with less shields that make them easy kills. I mean, that's exactly how the disruptor should be used, and beautiful job out of Barcode to make that happen. 2 dead once again for native red here, and still points continuing to pile up for native white.
Camouflage coming up, looks like Barcode snatching it up quickly, taking no damage while doing so, feeling free as the stray grenade brings him down to 1 shot. A false sense of security there for Barcode. Native red followed right through, but Gilkey having the shock rifle once again, and this time he's hitting shots.
Stuck in the batteries though. I like that he uses the grapple to get up there, and he gets a kill as well. Now he's going to be a very important piece of the break here for native red. He's going to be up top on glass. Native white have a beautiful cross angle now for this A side, but they're looking for the push, and guess where it comes from? It comes from the pipes. They were not prepared for that. Gilkey's going to go down.
Almost able to grapple out and play his life, but eventually native red are able to hunt him down, and now we're seeing numbers advantage once again go for native red. And as objective efficient as they are, they slide right in and steal away that alpha and bravo combination. A 3-man push from native white is going to be the response here over towards long haul, trying to force native red out of the gold side of the map. And meanwhile, on the top left hand corner of your screen, you're also seeing this OpTic and Proton Gaming going down to the wire as well. The response from OpTic so far to try to tie things up. We're gonna hop right on board here. Breaking shot, breaking ankles, more like it. And I think that they might have been his own that finally take him out. But Proton Gaming holding on to the 1-kill lead. And Trippy says, if you want to resort to fisticuffs, well, I work out too.
Yeah, you're starting to see, I mean, Slayer games are where these teams kind of flourish. 14, 10, and 16 out of Monster. A couple more deaths than you would like. But 43 to 42, OpTic take the lead as we start watching here. They now take a 2-kill lead. But the heat wave in the hands of Proton Gaming could really set up this P-side control. And it's going to be up to Monster to stay alive right now. Once he goes down, this entire setup is broken. Look at the rotation coming out of Proton.
Proton Gaming tried to escape this terrible situation. They find themselves in a 3-man stuck over toward the P and the French side, and OpTic Gaming chase them down. And now P-side control for OpTic Gaming. Proton Gaming's at least sending 2 players over toward their utility and car side, trying to gain any kind of traction on the map, but you got to be careful. OpTic can be at any corner, and you can't give away any free kills here. 1 squad wipe away from taking this game number 2, and mind you, Proton had the lead when we first tuned in.
Yeah, it wouldn't boggle my mind if they had to lead the entire game, but OpTic, the discipline, and that's what makes the difference in teams, right? Look at the discipline from OpTic to wait for any information possible and to act on that information, and to act on it so cleanly. Another kill on the board for OpTic, 49 to 46. They're looking to close this out onto breaking shot. He gets 1, but not before he goes down. OpTic are gonna go up 2-0 in that series.
Wow. OpTic game, I feel like we done cursed Proton for that one. They were about to win until we took a look at it. That's Proton, that's on us. Sorry, Cloud, my bad. Send him an invoice.
What do you mean
It's your fault.
I'm not paid for that. You pay for that.
McWin and Gilkey getting back-to-back kills. Don't be disrespectful. Barcode comes in with the perfect kill, holding on to the double cap as native white look to catch up to native red. A 204 to 130 lead. Native white right back in it, and maybe we see another comeback this time. Native white trying to send this to a game 5.
Yeah, native white looked really good when we left, and you know, now they've There's a little bit of a gap there, and now when we come back in, Tony, I think we're just good luck. I mean, they're starting to make a comeback here, approaching 150 seconds. Tapping button goes down, but it's a 3v3 situation. Druck is the piece of the puzzle. They've got to get Druck off of that side. Unfortunately, though, even with that glass control, Native Red do not have control of B. There they go. They drop for it, looking to get that, but they don't have numbers to back it up.
I feel like claiming we're good luck really depends on what point of view you're looking at it from. I mean, as of right now, I think we all want to see a game number 5. So as of right now, we're all a native white fan, and it's Manny the one who's able to get away with that camouflage Druck doing damage onto tapping, but just enough for Manny to sneak in. But McWin has his back, and Native White hunt down the camouflage player, not allowing Manny to escape. Native Red still putting points on the board, and Native White still losing fight after fight, number after number. So despite the individual plays to be able to take down camouflage, Native White haven't been able to do anything with it just yet. And Tyler making electrifying plays with the shock rifle. That's going to be a double kill, even able to put Barcode down. So one shot Barcode having to desperate over towards Bravo, but the absolute one-shot player Barcode ends up getting dated out. Manny sneaks in to get that reset, 7 seconds away from being able to come out with this game. Tapping bunts, beelines it straight toward the seaside. Soul Snipe going right in for the pin, and Soul Snipe simply wins those.
Something that I'm noticing about Native Red as they win the game, there it is, and the series. Native Red 3-1 versus Native White. Very close games right there. But I want to quickly say, Native Red just do a really good job. Even though they do go down in their fights, I think they put so much damage into Native White, and Native White just weren't able to get any map presence or any control. Trippy getting some control right here as we hop into this game. He gets a double kill, but that's all 4 down for OpTic Gaming. Proton now gonna get some ball time on the board.
16-4 lead in favor of OpTic Gaming, and you know, Proton, they finished second in their seed, and their reward for doing so, being able to upset a few teams, is you get to go up against the world champ, the back-to-back land champions of OpTic Gaming. That doesn't sound like much of a reward to me, and now you find yourself down 0-2 in the series, but digging deep is what Proton Gaming do best. A well-placed grenade by Poe is going to take down Lucid, and Formal ends up getting taken out as well. Proton Gaming not backing down from OpTic.
That's exactly what you need. You got to build that confidence. I say it all the time. I really truly think that Halo Infinite and any Halo is 70% mental. You know, making the right decisions, making sure you're confident in your plays, making sure you're confident in your individual skill. Great job right there by breaking shot. He's gonna take out Lucid, jumps over Trippy, gets the overshield. Trippy does a really good job though of staying in the shroud screen, because when that shroud screen falls, Breaking Shot loses all of his overshield. Incredibly smart play right there by Trippy. The discipline to stay in there, stay in cover, and wait for his team to spawn on back tower.
Y'all done call me crazy when I kept saying that Breaking Shot reminds me of like a young Bound, man. That movement is serious, and that shot is enough to match. He does such a good job of staying alive and really just master that mechanic in the movement. I feel like it's what makes him such a superstar of a player, or at least a superstar in the making, I should say. Excuse me. OpTic Gaming still having that hill, or still having that ball, having the early side setup as well. Lucid juggling Needler and Sidekick. That's a tough decision. I would go with the Needler, but I'm also toxic.
That Sidekick being utilized by so many top players here. Such a strong weapon in close range. Something else that's strong in long range, though, is this Snipe Breaking Shot going to play a little bit aggressive. Decides to back off. Lucid's going to take a body shot, and a BR to the head does not go down as well. So beautiful play by him to play his life. That's going to be 2 down for OpTic Gaming, and Proton a chance to rotate this ball towards A. OpTic not in a position to stop it, but Lucid is, and he gets his head taken off. Breaking Shot with a beautiful shot to the head of Lucid. That's gonna break the offense of OpTic Gaming for just a moment.
Uzi starts off by getting the first kill, and Breaking Shot gets the snipe to slow down OpTic Gaming completely, but somehow it's still OpTic Gaming that are creating space, that are surrounding Proton despite not having the numbers. Luckily, Proton just had to clutch it out, win those fights, and now we see a 4 down for OpTic Gaming. Now we see that overshield coming up, but the spawns being blocked on both sides. Gonna spawn OpTic over toward that overshield as close as possible. Proton Gaming have to come in and slay them out. Luckily, looks like they're able to do so, and I believe Proton should be able to snatch up that overshield. Perfectly played by Proton, and having to do so in like less than a split second worth of timing, because the last thing you wanted to do is give OpTic a free overshield right off the spawn.
Unfortunately, though, he does get that overshield, and he goes in for a melee, something that necessarily, you know, I don't like personally, just because that overshield is removed. Even if you get that kill, you're not able to get much more out of it. But regardless, they still do get some ball time on the board. 54 to 34, 20-second lead is definitely a solid lead versus this World Championship team in OpTic.
Common pulsing that grenade right back, and looks like his grenade gonna finish off Lucid, and now goes in for the pip against Trippy, almost able to grab that one. Eventually Trippy getting that final shot, and now breaking shot, the final player here on the A side. He knows that Trippy's lurking around. The rest of OpTic are now moving into position, doesn't care, disrespects Formal with that heat wave into the BR. Now down to one shot, but playing his life masterfully, even able to sneak out a melee, which leads into a kill for Proton Gaming. But of course Lucid follows it right back up. APG gives him that shroud to be able to cross right through. OpTic Gaming poised to take the lead here. Proton spawning up and already having reticles trained on him.
Although it did end up with Proton 4 dead, I really love, I want to say I love the confidence, the movement ability on a breaking shot. I really think that he's opening up the map for his entire team with all the damage he's doing, with his ability to stay alive. If he can continue to do that, they can chip away at this lead. But it just seems like OpTic is a little more, just a little more organized in their setups, just a little bit better at making sure to get, this ball time in an effective way. Whereas on the other end, on Proton Gaming, it's a little more scrappy.
Hey, got a little more pep in their step, a little oomph in their,
Okay.
Boom. I don't know. I know we're going with that. OpTic Gaming up 2-0 in the series right now, tied up at the moment here, looking to pull off the sweep against Proton Gaming. Ton of potential, but potential doesn't mean anything if you don't reach it. I know it's going to be tough for Proton, but I want to see them answer right back here. Early lead and overshield for Monster. APG able to take down one. Common goes right back at him. Monster now dealing with a 1v2, no longer having that overshield to work with, but was able to force Formal to back down.
Yeah, it forces Formal to back down. They get a lot of damage, forcing two players from OpTic to back down. And because of that, they're able to get this set up potentially on the tower side. But it looks like Monster decides to go back and try to contest the push on the outside. Trippy, look at this. Beautiful push by Trippy on this nest side. He's going to get at least two here. And it's because of an incredible flank. But wait a minute. Beautiful kill there by Monster. They get ball once again. There's the scrappy play I'm talking about. It's so vital for this Proton Gaming roster to play like this. And oh my goodness, the movement out of this man.
I can't, my brain can't even comprehend what is happening on breaking shot screen. The way he's able to stay alive and squeeze every last second of his life and buy so much time for the rest of his team. And look at that. Posey follows it up by being able to take down Lucid. Monster gets right back into play, able to get the kill onto Informal. And with that, Proton Gaming now just 10 seconds away from taking round number one. Monster rotating this ball away from OpTic Gaming. They're playing an advanced game of keep away, and so far it's Proton Gaming with the lead. 3 more seconds. Nades coming in left and right. Can OpTic Gaming get the ball out of their hands? Apparently not. Proton taking round one.
That's a huge round number one. I'm guaranteeing that's, I mean, it goes without saying it's a massive confidence boost, but you're also waking up the giant at this point, right? OpTic is not going to be very happy that they lost that round, especially at the end, getting baited to push on the outside near Nest. Proton Gaming got to play off of that momentum, make sure that they get these overshields, or at least keep them out of OpTic Gaming's hands, and they could potentially close out this game.
Trippy not only able to grab a hold of that heat wave, but able to rotate that ball towards the mud side, eventually transferring into that seaside setup that they're known so much for. But what a body shot with the sniper rifle out of Monster. Breaking shot, able to get the cleanup out of Trippy. So love what OpTic were looking to play. They'll play 1-2 steps ahead, but eventually Proton respond right back. You have the sniper player passing the ball to the overshield player. That overshield player wants to pass the ball to somebody else. Somebody needs to grab this ball that it doesn't have a power up or a power weapon in their hands.
Yeah, they're 2 down. They're not going to have an opportunity to get any ball time, and OpTic on the prowl. Like blood in the water, Proton go down to the Sharks, and now their own setup here on the A side. 17 seconds and counting. Proton have to do a solidified push here. They're waiting for that very first pick on OpTic, and then they're going to push it aggressively. Pay attention to the left and right side of the screen, but two go down instantly. OpTic Gaming with some beautiful defense.
Proton Gaming eventually falling 3 down. OpTic, so objective efficient, they're going to take advantage of that immediately. Formal down to one shot. Trippy says, don't worry, I got your back. With sniper rifle in hand, someone might be getting their head taken right off, just barely missing with that sniper. Monster now surrounding both Formal and Trippy, getting into position, and Trippy gonna back right out of the situation, leaving his teammate by himself, but he has to try to get this ball off the map, and looks like, never forget that, OpTic, they get the collapse. They put Proton 3 down. Forget playing that ball. Now that ball time is being stolen by OpTic.
Yeah, Monster tried to make it through there. There goes the shroud screen on top of the overshield. Oh my gosh, lots of nades come out though. I believe breaking shot. That's another overshield for Proton Gaming. I think they've pretty much gotten every overshield in this oddball live fire game. And that being said, there's a big reason why they're up 1 round. Play ball does come out, but the overshield all but gone. Breaking shot not going to be able to advance on this one, even with the movement that he has. It's a very scary push into 2 players of OpTic.
49-10 lead for OpTic Gaming, but it is Proton that have a bit of control. As I say that, OpTic just bust right in, get the slays they're looking for. Breaking shot does make a play to take down APG, but what does Formal do? Backs that ball right out of that situation, and now just more scrappy time being put on the board here for OpTic Gaming, and eventually that scrappy time might end up turning into coordinated time unless Trippy can't quite find the kill onto Common. Lucid ends up going down as well. A triple kill out of APG's gonna slow them right down. The man's gonna get the overkill as well, absolutely obliterating Proton Gaming. This ain't Big Bang Theory. Get the Protons off the map.
Oh my word, what an incredible overkill right there by APG. That's gonna pump up the roster. 65-9. OpTic, like I said before, they look angry. They want to finish this round number 2 in convincing fashion and tie it up. Beautiful play there by APG.
71-9 lead. OpTic Gaming look to respond here. Proton still having that 1 round advantage as far as rounds go. Common quickly trying to get that ball out of harm's way, but the nades coming in out of Formal, and APG gonna clear him right out of it. APG follows up with the heat wave, but can't quite find the kill. Monster did find himself a sniper rifle. Can't quite connect, but the nade does. Trades out his life right there. No clean kills coming in just yet. Both of these teams diving in. Both of these teams leaving everything on the table to try to get that man advantage, try to get that overshield, and ultimately that ball time for Proton being pushed away from overshield. That's quite the punt there, because it looks like OpTic do grab hold of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They punt it and go for ball time on this B side. It's going to probably not pay off, though. They're going to get a couple of seconds of ball time. But OpTic Gaming are going to utilize this OS to potentially finish this game off. APG gets another kill on the board. 3 down for Proton Gaming. And more time on the board for OpTic in this round number 2. OpTic is up 2-0 in this series, so if they win this game, that is going to send Proton Gaming down to the losers bracket for tomorrow's tournament. And it looks like they're looking to do just that.
Okay, Posey. I see you taking on APG, despite the fact that APG having the extra shields there, but the rest of OpTic Gaming are finding the kills that they're looking for. APG right off his spawn, trying to get in position. Posey looks like he's covering his teammates back, but trying to find out where that pressure's coming from. APG is able to make it all the way toward the A side. Formal following right up with it. Posey finding the shots onto APG. Monster finds the back smack onto Lucid. That's going to slow down OpTic quite a bit. Trippy with the early damage being put on over toward the tower side, but him and APG with the double push is going to work out. Breaking shot looks to make a play, trades out his life with Formal. Common wants to get back into the play with the skill jump, is able to do just that. OpTic are there, so Common says, I'm going swimming with the ball with me. It's my ball, you guys can't have it.
He looks surprised right there. He's like, no, way too far, I can't clamber. Get the ball. 3 down for Proton now. And a massive scoreline out of APG, 29, 11, and 19. Absolutely popping off in this game. Formal as well. Look at the teamwork. Another double kill out of him. The sniper coming up in a couple seconds here. 12 seconds to close out this round number 2. And OS again for OpTic. You don't want to see them with this, but they're going to have all the weapons on the map to close out round number 2, and they will do just that. There it is. Tied up now 1-1. This is Proton's answer. They've got to answer back right now.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of that, Proton didn't have the lives, didn't have the setup, didn't have the overshield, didn't have the ball, and had no chance of coming back in that round number 2. OpTic Gaming able to look fairly dominant in round 2, but I still saw life out of Proton, and I'm still a believer that they can come in and make this a series here. Both these teams 1 round away from taking the game, but like you mentioned before, it matters so much more for Proton. They do not want to get swept here in the winner's bracket.
But OpTic looking to make that happen. You see 2 staggered spawns on the B side. Formal's not going to be in a position to do any damage, so potentially Proton have a little bit of a numbers advantage going into that push. OpTic got to be careful, and you see they're starting to rotate the ball over to their top tower player in Formal. Couple of trades come out, but OpTic Gaming on the top of those trades, 2 down for Proton.
Sniper rifle in the hands of Formal. He was able to spot out Monster and knows he's not pushing the dummy side, so knows he's pushing over towards the mid, but so are multiple members of Proton, and Formal willing to take the challenge. Body shot onto Monster, follows it up with the BR shot. Trippy able to move that ball onto the green side of the map, and there's 2 members on the pillars for Proton, and having no idea that Formal was literally right behind them like the boogeyman with the jump scares. 28-0 run for OpTic Gaming. So far, haven't played the ball yet. In fact, even rotating that ball from the B side right back to the tower side. This is just masterfully done by OG.
It really is. And the fact that Formal got off a tower there, they didn't expect him to do that. They expected the ball to rotate back to tower. But Formal, knowing he's not going to provide a lot of value on that power position, drops off and gets the flank on the pushing players of Proton. Beautifully played by OpTic Gaming.
3 members of Proton having to have a 3-man push over toward the overshield side. Looks like Monster finds himself 1 and even 2, taking down Trippy, and actually Monster taking down 3 out of 4 members of OpTic Gaming. Eventually OpTic go 4 down, Lucid the first one to spawn. Trippy spawns in position over toward the A side, but the Shroud comes in. Monster comfortable enough to just snatch up that overshield. Despite the fact that OpTic have the lead, Proton definitely made some plays, and that leads right to the overshield.
I mean, that was just so well played there by Formal and APG. They're on the isolated side on bottom tower, but they're still able to get a kill on their own and make that 2 kills on this Proton Gaming roster. And that breaks apart any advantage that they had with that overshield. That overshield is null and void. And only 6 seconds is all that Proton's been able to provide on this scoreline. 64 and counting for OpTic. They're looking to close this series out right this second.
And that's crazy to me, because despite the plays being made, despite that 4 down, even the overshield grab, like you said, only 6 seconds coming in for Proton Gaming. Meanwhile, OpTic are well past the halfway point of getting their 100-point mark, and again 3-0 and sweeping Proton. OpTic making this so tough, and as of right now, Proton fighting for dear life just to stay on the map, let alone get any points on the board.
Yeah, it's just flawless play out of OpTic Gaming. Look at how they're playing right now. They're pushing in 2s. They're taking space on the map on both sides of the map, pretty much putting Proton Gaming in a situation where they're just, you know, there's the ham and cheese on the inside of a sandwich. Oh, I'm kind of hungry. But who else is hungry is OpTic Gaming. They want to close out this series, Tony, right now.
81-9 leave OpTic Gaming. Trippy comes in with the flank shots, even shares some body disrespect onto Proton, sending it right back at him. Breaking shot taking down Lucid, forces APG to play that ball, so Proton Gaming right back in, but you still have such a mountain to climb. It's an 88-9 lead for OpTic Gaming. I don't want to say it's impossible, but 1 break is all it takes for OpTic Gaming to steal this game away, and they've already found the 3 down they were looking for.
I mean, Proton winning this is like me and you trying to climb Mount Everest, Tony. It's never going to happen. OpTic Gaming are just too good at this point in time, and they're going to close this out right here. And I said they were going to get angry. Tony, I said it. OpTic Gaming, they go down 1 round. They're going to get angry. They're going to come out. They're going to sweep, and there it is. 3-0. OpTic Gaming are going to send Proton Gaming down to the loser.